Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how I go about or how I went about creating a habitat plan for our 40 acres called Ivy Rattling Acres up in Omer, Michigan. The app that I use for this purpose is called HuntStand, and right here you can see my dad's, my uncle's, my grandpa's 40-acre square. It's bordered on the east side here by a trail, 2-track, seasonal, called Hull. And then there's another seasonal road that cuts through. This is a little more than a 2-track. This is actually a little bit maintained. Cuts through and creates this little triangle over here. This is up in Omer, Michigan, surrounded by thousands of acres of state land. You can see it's like monoculture. This is state land mostly over here, state land mostly over here. Mixed match of clear cuts and old growth, new growth. So the problem that we're having is we used to bait when baiting was legal up here, and it's just a weekend camp. And we're not seeing the deer because we don't have the maintenance and we don't have the features in place to really see the deer. So we're taking on a habitat plan to really overhaul what we're doing. And quickly, I create 2 maps. I call one the current, which would be your current features as you build them or as you have them. And then I call another plan just that, the plan. So on this, you will quickly see all the features that I have drawn in for this Omer habitat plan. And this is the app that I use to do it. And we'll go through this stuff in video by video, and I'll kind of lay out how I do it. But to get started, I use the HuntStand app to get a good aerial and to help me start planning and where I want to draw. I know some of the features on this property. I know right where they are, so I've built those in. But HuntStand allows you to draw, get a visual, use your yardage tool up here to see how far the distances are and stuff, and if they make sense, and then to redraw and resave and do all that stuff. The thing that I really like about it too is then that you can download the app and take this with you in the field on an iPad, on a phone, a smartphone most generally, and you can blue dot yourself right through all these features and mark them off as you're building them. Obviously, there's a huge difference between real world when you get boots on the ground and sitting at your desk drawing features. So I don't think you can do a complete habitat plan. I don't think anyone can do it from their desk for you. So I would encourage you to not do that. I see a lot of people who are offering that service. Um, it's for what you get from what I've seen and for what you have to spend. And then you may have to make changes anyway. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. But anyway, so this is how I have created our plan for our 40 acres. I don't tout myself as an expert. I only say that I've been bow hunting white-tailed deer in Michigan since I was 12 years old, and I am now 55 years old. Killed my first deer with a bow at 14. Killed a bunch pretty much every year since then. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of studying over the years. Study guys in Michigan like Jake Eilinger, Randy Vanderveen, Tony LaPratt, Jim Brooker, who has a great ebook, by the way, if you want to look that up. And then guys who aren't in Michigan necessarily, Jim Ward. I think Steve Bartilla, he's in Michigan. He has a lot of great stuff. And these guys have a lot of great information. Personally, I'm not going to hire somebody who is 20 years old, 22 years old, 24 years old, probably even 30 years old, and just doesn't have the experience to do these plans. Deer are creatures of habit for the most part. Until you get into the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, 6-year-old bucks, which we really don't do here in Michigan. You can generally lay out maps and lay out plans that will generally work for most age classes that we see. Now, as you get into older age classes, you probably have to do some different things. But if you approach every plan that you're going to do in a manner that it's built for low impact during the hunting season, managing your wind directions and managing your sight lines, I think you can be very successful. That being said, again, this is a plan that's 40 acres. We are allocating a budget for about $6,000 to do all this stuff. We need to hire equipment to come in, to blow in these trails, to clean up these trails in green, and to do a lot of work. And that will save us years of cutting with the chainsaw, dragging limbs, dragging this, that, and the other. I hired a forestry mulcher on another property that I own, and he did in a day what would take me probably 2 to 3 years to do. So forestry mulchers to do trails and things like that, I think are well worth it. So not to get into the details of the plan yet, but just know that any good plan is going to cost time and money. You're going to have to put some money into it. That doesn't mean you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, but you are going to have to buy chainsaws, fuel, seed, all that stuff, and you're going to have to spend the time. So time is money too. So anyway, the app that I like using is HuntStand, and this is HuntStand. The next thing I would suggest you do is go on Google Drive and make yourself a folder that houses all of your documents that you're going to need. And I'll show you the documents that I've used in order to plan this out. We have 2-3 owners up there on the property, own the property in the family, with my uncle and my dad having it, and my grandpa since 1986, I believe. I have 1/3. My dad has 1/3, and my uncle has 1/3. But we've always treated it, my dad and uncle have always treated it, it's a place for people to come, have camaraderie, and hunt. So back in the day, we've had as many as, 15 guys up there hunting on weekends. And back when the state land was humming and the baiting was going, and we were all younger, my dad was younger and lived in the area, we had 15 tree stands running, and we would shoot 4 or 5 deer on a weekend with bows, easy. But as we've aged, life happens, generations change. So we now have kids of kids who are coming up. So all told, our clan is probably still runs probably 30 or 40 deep. Regular hunters. We've got Gary, Jeff, my dad, Roger, Bruce. So there's 5. And then Steve and Drew, 6, 7. I mean, so we've got like 10 guys in any given year that may go up there to hunt. But usually it's 2 to 3 to 4 on any given weekend, and usually it's not every weekend. So I wouldn't consider the pressure like huge, but when we pull into camp, we like to have some fun. And if you see where camp is, that's right up here in the upper right corner. The distances aren't far, and deer get finicky. So while we try to be careful, you just run into humans and deer sometimes don't mix great. So with a barren piece of land without any features, it makes it tougher. So as we roll out this plan, I got some folders here. I call it Omer Habitat and Land Plan. That's my main folder. This is the folder where I'm going to share with other members so they can look at it. These are my handwritten notes as I move along and create my plan. These have to do with plot and trail seeding, and this is obviously just what it says. I take screenshots of my map as I evolve it. And always, so I like to have the history as I move through, and I can look back and modify things. And, you just get different ideas as you sit down and look at it differently. So, second thing is, after HuntStand, is create a Google Drive folder. And you can copy this, or you can do whatever you want to help yourself organize. So then in my Omer plan shared files, these are kind of like the finished product or the work in progress that we're going to work off of. This is the habitat plan spreadsheet that I created. On this first page or the first sheet, I'm going to move these. Close that. So on sheet 1, I called it goals and priorities. You can see at the top the overall goals, like basically why you're doing it, what you're doing, maybe some parameters of what you're doing. You can read mine. Basically, the first paragraph says, since the baiting ban, coupled with Stu, who's my dad, not being so close to the property, the deer hunting has become far less productive than it once was. Time constraints, age, and life events of the membership, meaning all the guys that come up, and habitat changes have all contributed to the changing of the deer hunting climate. It's time to make a massive overhaul of the property to continue the enjoyment and provide good hunting opportunities for the generation that built the camp and to serve the next generation and beyond. So this is just an overarching statement that can get everybody on the same page why we're doing this. And then some more details here with a budget, and just telling guys that, hey, part of being a camp member is, pitching in whatever way you can. It's not money. We don't ask for money, but obviously money helps. But really what helps is time, labor, and effort, and everybody pitching in to get it done. So that's what makes it fun. So then some of our goals is to see more deer while hunting, increase the deer activity year round just for the overall enjoyment, increase the huntability. So we have some guys getting older. making sure that we have good stands, possibly putting in some box blinds. So yeah, number 4, adding some box blinds. Add more food, because if you look at the map, the surrounding area, it's natural browse. So I mean, the deer have food and the deer survive. But when we add this green and these features that you cannot find within a mile, half mile for sure, 3/4 of a mile, up to a mile radius, that's just going to enhance the property. The deer are going to, once they find it, they're going to be hammering it. That's just the way it is. And then our little stew meat triangle over there, call this the stew meat triangle. It's just like 4 or 5 acres that's over here, kind of the road splitting it. And we've never really done any great features over here, but it can be good hunting because this is state land, short bedding area type stuff that doesn't get a lot of traffic. And so we can enhance that. So that's part of the plan. And then to have 13 good stands on the prevailing winds. Priorities, what do we need to do first, basically? Well, first we need to mark out the project. Then we need to organize it so that we can perform the tasks that are doable by different members, so that, not everybody has to be there all at the same time to get things done. So here, this coming weekend, we're going to go up and mark out and ribbon out and paint up what needs to be done. So then I think the next priority is to hire the forestry mulcher to blow in the trails and blow in the new food plots. And then we have to figure out how to clear the large food plot, which is an 1.5 acres. So we're going to do that, and then get all the plants plotted by this coming fall. Then after that, maybe this year or maybe in the next year, we may get to adding the stands, adding licking branches and mock scrapes, plant a large plot. I got it as a 2, but I'd really like to get it done this fall. The bedding zone areas may have to, we may not get to that this year. So even though we got it drawn out, that may be a year 2 project. The travel corridor, same thing. And then barriers at the road might be the same thing. So a lot of work to get done. But so our priority would be to get the ones done this year. Then I go through, and this just kind of outlines features on the map and tells us what they are. A barrier is in orange. So you see on the map here, we got orange, especially down here by this road. Orange, 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 orange. So that is a barrier. Orange on the map, used to prevent deer travel in sight, parallel to the direction of travel, horizontal cover. So it just kind of explains what it is. So like if guys are building it, they know how to build it. Deer travel corridors are in white. So it's not necessarily a travel corridor right now, but it's a direction of travel. They always come across this road. But up in here through our bedding areas, definitely encourage travel through there. A trail, our green lines, promote deer travel, provide food, and limited human access for maintenance. So 5 to 6 feet wide, plant them with these seed blends. We can use them for maintenance, but they're not designed for maintenance. They're designed for deer travel. So possibly off-season maintenance and planting is all we want to use them for, and possibly deer retrieval. We don't want to use those for excess. We want to keep our access around the outside. An access trail will be in blue, and a licking branch is also in blue. So I have limited ribbon colors and paint colors when we paint this up and ribbon it up on the property. So I use 2 features, 1 color. So you can see here, this will be an access point off of this 2-track to a new stand site. And then these 2 blue will be 2 licking branches that we'll build within that food plot feature. And then the pinkish red on the map is enhanced bedding areas, bedding zones. So we're not going to go in and like make individual beds. We're just going to, use the cover as it is, enhance it, put some trees on the ground, hinge some trees over, reduce sight lines, improve, because deer are lazy, so improve these little travel corridors to encourage that. Not getting super duper crazy, but providing gray areas for deer to feel comfortable and secure. Plots are the green shapes. So up here we start with a plot. This is a shape. Over here is our new big plot. That's a shape. Down here is another shape. So that's our habitat legend or features. My next planning page sheet is I actually plotted the acreage of the plots. I numbered them so that we can all talk about the same plot and know what we're talking about and where it is. And then I also measured as part of the HuntStand tool how many miles it was, converted that to feet, and then converted that to acres, 6 feet wide. So 1 acre is 43,560 square feet, 43560. So you can see that we're going to add up to 3.7 acres of food. 0.7 will be in the trails. 3 of it will be in plots. And we have almost a mile of trail. So if you go back to the HuntStand, and then another video, I'll go through the features of the HuntStand. But quickly, if you just click on this is Trail 1, you can see it's T1, Trail 1, 0.08 miles. And that is where I made that conversion. You see Trail 1 right here. Is Rogers stand to the swale. It's 8 100ths, 416 feet, 0.057 acres. So that gives you an idea of your acreage and your distances, which then allows you to use, I created a seed and fertilizer calculator. So on this seed and fertilizer calculator, I went through, I know that I'm ordering our seed from a company called Northwoods Whitetail Seed Company. They're in northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, and they build seed blends that work really well in Michigan, and especially in our area in Omer, where we know that it's sandy and acidic. So we know that we're going to need a starting point without doing a test. We're calculating 400 pounds per acre of pelletized lime. So with plot 1, plot 2, plot 3 back here on your food plots and trails, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, you know the acreage. Transfer your acreage, transfer acres times pounds per acre to give you pounds, and do that for all your plots, do that for all your trails. You can see that you need 1,493 pounds of line to do 400 pounds per acre rate. 40 pounds per bag means you need 37.3. And if anybody wants this calculator, just reach out to me. I'd be glad to send it to you for free. Put in your price, and this gives you a basic budget of what you're looking at. So Whitetails, Northwoods Whitetails has also a soil builder blend, 50 pounds per acre. Again, just calculate it all down. And my blues are the variable. So you can see here, blue equals enter the variable. The blacks are calculated for you or brought over from another sheet. And then again, you can get all the way over. So we're going to do some crimson clover. We're going to do a fall forage sandy blend, a rye. And you also have to spray your trails, kill them at some point. So this can help you calculate how much glyphosate you're going to need. So I'm going to need 2.5 gallons of concentrate, and it's 60. No, it comes in 2.5 gallons. I'm going to need 0.6 of that 2.5 gallons. So that's a little over half, right? So 1.75 gallons or so. No, 1.25 gallons. $60 per 2.5 equals $33. And then this gets you your total seed budget, planting budget of what you might be looking at. That's just for seed and weed killer. Doesn't consider fuel or anything like that. So it can get you in the ballpark if you need to plan or adjust or say, that's going to cost too much or whatever, or hey, I can spend more, whatever. It's going to get you in the ballpark. So first fall plan total, lime, spray 2 times, and seed, our fall blend, it's going to cost us $1,000. And then lastly, I just build a simple project manager. Well, not lastly, I guess a project manager, which is going to, I just put a date that I think of it, a date that I'm going to schedule it, when we're going to complete it, order of priority. So this is like actually listing out 1, 2, 3s, do this first, do this second, the area of the property. So right now it's just kind of property wide stuff, but if you're going to do work in plot 1, you could put P1, and then the actual task. So first thing we want to do is track the trails on the HuntStand map with our boots on the ground and kind of match them up to what the actual our plan shows right now, so that if we need to make big adjustments, we can do that right away. And then lastly, I guess, is any equipment needs that we're going to need, things that we don't have or things that you're going to need to bring every time, or even I'm proposing that we buy some of this stuff and leave it at camp, such as a drag, a boomless sprayer, and a pull behind spreader. And then I've even gone to Amazon and created a list for my Omer habitat list. And these are the things that I would like to purchase in order to help us do a good job of creating and maintaining our habitat program. So that is kind of how I have laid out our habitat plan for our property up in Omer. Feel free to comment, questions. Again, I don't do this for a living. I don't want to do this for a living, but I do want to share what I know with guys who are like-minded, and maybe you want to do some stuff, but you're just not sure what to do. I think there's going to be people that are going to tell you can ruin your property by if you do it wrong and hire me. But I think if you have a basic understanding of habitat, a basic understanding of trees and how to regenerate new growth, and maybe a basic understanding of how deer already move about your property, you can get something like this accomplished without hiring a habitat manager. That said, I do have plans to hire a habitat manager. I'm either looking at Jake Eilinger or Randy Vanderveen on another piece of property I have down in southern Michigan by Byron, only because that is more agriculture, and I have this 40 acres up in Homer. It's like a monoculture blank slate, so we literally can just carve the features out and build them. Whereas I want a second opinion on what works really good in the agricultural areas. So if you're looking to do this on your own, you can do it on your own. But if you're looking to hire someone, I would look to hire, if you're in Michigan, I would look to hire somebody who does work in Michigan and understands what Michigan offers. There's some really good guys out in Iowa, but I just think some of their strategies are, I listen to them, I say, gee, it would be nice to not have to worry about that. So two of the guys that, like I said, that I really like are Jake Eilinger and Randy Vanderveen. Tony LaPratt is really awesome too. And then Steve Bartilla here in Michigan. So I'm going to wrap this video up. That's the overall planning part of it. And then next videos, I'll get into the actual drawing part of it. And then over the next few weeks, we're going to go up and actually plot it out, and we'll do a video on that as well. And we'll just keep going. So happy habitat, happy hunting. This is hunting how it happens. Let's go get them.